real business owners.
Share maybe a life-altering moment with us in terms of like where you had a realization that something had to change.
If we're gonna go back to grade school for a minute, like, you know, I mean, I could probably think of some sooner too, but
yeah,
I mean, it's got to be when I found out that Callie was pregnant with Caden, my oldest son. I mean, it's got to be, dude. I mean, it's probably one of the biggest life-altering moments because, dude, you know, and I want to be respectful to her because, you know, my son listens to our podcast and she even listens to it too. So it's not that she's a bad person or anything. I did not want to be with her. Okay. But my whole life, a few of the good things that my dad always did say and teach me was like, you know, I guess they're man up moments for me, right? Because my dad was always like, you know, hey, if you're gonna do something, do it right. You know what I mean? If you're gonna, you know, create a situation, you better be responsible for it, right? And those are some of the things that he did kind of raise and instill in us when we were young. And so, you know, I tried a lot of things, man. Like I was like, well, you know, we broke up. And you were hanging out with other dudes. That ain't my kid, you know? Like, you know, I'm just a scared 17-year-old kid, man. Like, I'm not ready to have a kid, you know what I mean? But as it got closer and closer and, you know, I was just started thinking, man, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life, man? Like, I went snowboarding one day. I broke my fucking arm. I was like, damn, right before this kid's coming, I break my arm. I had just gotten a job so that I could start saving money for when the kid came, you know? And so... dude, like I'm literally with a broken arm down at Smith's grocery store pushing carts with one fucking arm because I couldn't not take the job. You know, I was like, damn, why did I go snowboarding, right? But dude, when he was born and it was all like confirmed, like this is my son, like I'm like, oh my gosh, man, I've got to get to work, right? And I can't push carts the rest of my life, you know, so... Dude, I went through so many things, like joining the military, which I didn't end up going, but I went through all the hoops of getting sworn in, going up, taking the test, doing all this shit, but I ended up never going to boot camp. Luckily, I found sales before that. But dude, it really pushed me to just like find an opportunity or find something that I could work my ass off and really provide for, right? Provide for this family. And so that was really a life-altering moment for me, man, was like, just, man, holding that kid in my arms and only being 17, 18 years, I was 18 by the time I had him, but just being this kid myself and holding this child, like, oh my gosh, I've got to change. Because I was a shithead, man. You know, I was snowboarding, stuff in school, didn't graduate high school, you know. I wasn't really smoking weed and shit because I did that in like I did that in like 9th grade. I didn't like it.
That was back,
I ran around with that shit, hooligans that did weed and stuff for a little while too. But man, just holding him in my arms, man, that was a real life altering moment. I was like, okay, this is a man up moment. Like I'm working the rest of my damn life and I've got a family now, you know? And so, you know, and we've talked a little bit about that in previous episodes, but that, if we're going to talk about life altering moments, that was probably one of my biggest, man. Like I had to now take on a mindset of, not just providing, but like always trying to be an example to them as well. Like you can do anything. Like you can work, you can get yourself out of any situation. You can turn every negative situation to a positive one. Like being a good example is just a huge thing for me and my family. And so that was like kind of a moment of realizing that.
Well, you could have took that moment and just kind of folded your cards, right? And said, shit, well, I'm not going to amount to anything. I'm just going to go get a regular, you know, job. I'm going to keep pushing carts and work my way up to cashier and do this or whatever. I'm not saying that anything's bad about that, but at the end of the day.
Or I could have just given up for adoption.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
like there's plenty
we had family members that begged us to do that.
Yeah.
We even had family members who were like, we'll adopt him. That like were my ex-wife's family members and like, dude, we thought about it. You know what I mean? It's like maybe that's what's best for the kid.
Yeah.
But at the end of the moment, I was like, man, that's I guess really the turning moment of holding him in my arms and just like, I can do this.
Yeah.
I am capable.
Yeah.
I can come up with excuses all day long of why I could give him up for adoption, of why I want to go to college or I want to go do this, and
nobody would have blamed you for it either.
I'm not going to be a good dad anyway. I'm too young. I could have done all that shit.
Nobody would have said that you're an asshole for doing it at 17, 18 years old. They would have said, "Oh, yeah, at least you are trying to do what's right for the, you know." That's what it been. It would have been wrapped in a pretty bow for you to be able to do something like that. and not have anybody come and be harsh on you.
Yeah.
Right.
And no, you know what? No disrespect to people that have given kids up for adoption or whatever. Maybe that is what was really best for them.
Yeah.
And for that kid. But for me, it was like, you know what? I know I can do this. I'm just gonna man up right now.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna man up. I'm gonna work every day. I'm gonna work my ass off. I'm gonna level up as a human. And do the best job. I just felt so much love, dude. I just felt so much love. If you had a kid and I didn't feel that love, maybe I should have given up for adoption. Yeah. But I felt so much love and like just inspiration and motivation and everything that you feel like in those moments for this kid. And I was like, I just got to go, you know? Yeah. So that was a really big turning moment for me, dude. One of them. So nothing to really do with business, but I have a business one I can get to next.
Yeah. No, I mean, at the end of the day, it's not, you know, I mean, let's be real. That moment right there where you accepted that responsibility ultimately helped you make different decisions, which led you into a different job that then provided enough income for you to ultimately eventually start a business. Yeah. Right. So you can kind of start connecting the dots and putting things together. Right. Yeah. Because if you would have gave Caden up for adoption, you maybe wouldn't had that same motivation to say, man, I need to get it into gear, because you were still only needing to worry about yourself. You could still push carts. You could still, you know, and then maybe you wouldn't have found sales, which maybe you wouldn't have found that higher income, and then it ended up being, who knows, right? And so, you know, definitely probably a very much life-altering moment. You know, now Caden, if if he listens to this, he's going to want more money from you now that you're successful. Now that you're he's like, hey, it's because of
you
me.
owe me, man.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know what, dude? Every kid I've had has fueled it even more, bro. Yeah. Because you know what, man? Like, dude, when I think about what my why is, my purpose is, like, it always comes back to the family, man. I'm a fucking family man, dude. Yeah. I just am. And that at the end of the day, man, like, you know, I just know that's who I am. But you know, having Caden, my first, you know, and being, you know, youngster and having all those options and where I could have just, you know, went the other way or whatever. You know, dude, that was a really big turning point, and it has led to a lot of things. Yeah. So. And it has led to a lot of the successes, I think, too, because it's what fuels me.
That's the thing is when you say, well, it's not really business related. I think it's more business related than what people even realize, because every decision that you make will ultimately, it's the ripple effect, right? It will affect you in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, or whatever it is. Yeah. Right. So just because maybe if somebody's listening to this and they make a little life altering choice, that doesn't mean life altering where you've got to try to go be an entrepreneur immediately, but maybe they do switch gears and go into a different job that's a little bit higher paying that ultimately helps them save money so that they can invest or start a business or whatever, right? And so it doesn't have to be direct from, you know, I'm a waiter or waitress to now an entrepreneur. Right. You know, maybe you go from a waiter to waitress to wanting to go into sales and do something a little bit different that can make more money. And again, she still changed the trajectory of your life, so to speak, right? Absolutely. And so I think it is very relatable for anybody that's listening, because there's a lot of self-evaluating going on right now in the world, and as it should be, right? When there's downtime, you should be evaluating. You shouldn't just be sitting idle waiting for things to go back to normal, because the majority of people's normals is living paycheck to paycheck, and you don't want to go back to that if that was your normal.